All right, all right. Good morning. Good morning. Got a handful of people in the waiting room popping in, waiting for their audio to turn on. So we're going to give it just a second. But for everybody else, Guten Morgen. Morning, Michael. Good to see you. Good morning, Stephen. I see you as well. Wonderful. Thank you. Seeing here. Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Sandy. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. We have a good group. Let's get cracking. Welcome to the Market Watch Group weekly opening bell. Our Monday morning session, 15 minutes before the market opens. We watch this thing open and get a sense of, based on what we were expecting on Sunday, how are things starting to play out? Let's get into it. Here are the disclaimers. As always, remember, educational, illustrative purposes only. We are not brokers. We are not advisors. We don't provide guidance. We don't provide recommendations. Yada, yada. Good morning, Perry. Good to see you. Today's agenda. Let's look at the opening futures. Down a little, it seems. Let's look at what news is coming out today or came out over the weekend that is impacting the market today. We'll look at the economic calendar. We'll review our posture for anyone who wasn't there yesterday or didn't see the video. I had a delay getting it sent out. I thought I had sent it, and I'm like, where's that email? So I had to send it later. So if you didn't see it during the day, it did come out later in the evening. We'll talk about mindset for any trades that you're carrying through the weekend. We'll watch the opening range, get a sense of what we think the implications are when it breaks one side or the other. Any early week short list of either any stocks that we think might be tradable, and we'll finish up with trading plan section of the week. Full agenda. Let's get cracking. Let's get cracking here. We'll start. Thought I had these reloaded. We'll start here with the S&P. Excuse me, with Yahoo, with the futures. Down 0.26 for the S&P, 0.5 for the Dow. Only 0.07 for the NASDAQ. And it's up 0.5% for the Russell. So the Russell still doing its thing, showing some resilience in spite of, what's this article? Why Wall Street is increasingly worried about inflation again. Yeah, inflation. Inflation will be the wet blanket for the Fed. Yeah, and the sluggishness to lower rates, I think, will be, again, most impactful on the small caps. So that's the one what we've been keeping our eye on, right? Okay. 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 What's next? Stock rally pauses as more tests loom. Okay. Should stocks be aware of the Ides of Mars coming off February rally? Yada yada. Yeah, I don't see much. Bob, I think this is what you had mentioned. The U.S. money supply is making history for the first time since the Great Depression. It implies a big move in stocks is on the way. Ooh, okay. I'm curious about that. I'm gonna pop it open and see what it has to say. But overall, nothing major that's come out that seems to be disruptive in nature. Okay. Okay. What's on the calendar this week? We talked about it a little bit. Nothing today, minimal tomorrow, right? No one's really paying attention to factory orders or ISM services. No one's really paying attention to the vice chair, Michael Barr. We are, however, paying attention to ADP private payrolls on Wednesday. Jerome Powell testifying to Congress. I believe it's Congress first, Senate second. That's going to be important. Job openings. That's a pretty good one, seeing if we're staying around 9 million. And the base book. So we've got kind of a lot on Wednesday. Thursday slows down. We have jobless claims. We have more Jer Bear talking. And then Friday we have Department of Labor non-farm payrolls. All of the employment is expected to come in at an okay level, like a pretty decent level. But remember that last month, particularly on the Department of Labor non-farm payrolls, they're expecting like 150 and got 350. Like it crushed, shattered expectations. So yeah, there's something to that. Okay. That's the calendar for this week. Mostly it's Fed related with Jerome speaking in the base book, and labor market related with private payrolls, job openings, and Department of Labor monthly report. Great. Okay. What else? Let's see what our Fed watch looks like. Let me give it a quick reload. No expectation of interest rates getting cut in the March report. May there's some, but not much. 4-1 against. June, it's about 1.5 to 1.4. That's the first time that we're seeing that. And then July is when we really, you can see there's even odds of a second cut versus the first cut. Not many people think we won't. I mean, I know somebody just came out and said, "Oh, they may not cut rates at all." Of course, they're going to cut rates this year. I don't see there's any. That's just as overrated. That's just as for me, that's just as bad of an overreactive call as UBS saying they're going to cut 2.75. How do we have institutions that, a month, 2 months ago, we have one saying they're going to cut 2.75, and then the guy's like, I don't think they're going to cut this entire year. There's 8 meetings. Man, that's okay. Okay. All right. Let's go take a look at what's happening here. If you missed our meeting yesterday, posture rose back up to that 7 level, that elusive 7. Such a strong score, that 7. But it's a 7. What happened? Long term is at a 1.5. It's very strong. It's unlikely that changes anytime soon. I can't imagine that number changing in less than months. Would be the indicate the time frame that I would think maybe it changes then. Short term, it's an easy read right now because it's right in the middle of the current trend that we have identified as being relevant. Let's go SPY. Oops. Let's go SPY here. We've been in that trend for 2 months, right? Nice angle, steady. Things look pretty good. We're expected to drop a little bit today, but overall, we're right in line with this. Nothing changing there. But volume, all of a sudden, right, you can see that we've lost all our above average volume days over here. We have this one day, and even this one day is starting, right? By the time we analyze on Sunday, this moves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places to the left. So the next Sunday, when we evaluate volume, unless a new volume or two above average day shows up for the sellers, then that's going to be moving to the left, getting stale and falling out of relevance. But we had two brand new, like that, literally the last 2 days of the week. So these are going to be with us for a while. So yeah, I have one against 2-4. I ended up raising my volume score to a 0.5 point. That was where the improvement was. The volume has been fluctuating, right? We're seeing the volume a little bit moving. A lot of things are real stable. Some things are moving still a little bit. What's moving? Volume and VIX. Volume and VIX is where most of our shifting is coming from right now. Have you noticed that? So long-term trend is pretty stable. Short-term trend is pretty stable. Major market, pretty stable. Sector rotation, same thing, right? We've been 0.75 or 0.75 or 1 for a long time, but the VIX and the volume, they've been from 0 to 0.75 and back down. Right? It's all over the place a little bit. Major market looks good. Sectors still look good. I mean, major market is still somewhat looking at possibly being a 1 as well. So, okay, let me know if you have any questions or comments about that scoring. But things look overall bullish. We're bullish. We're looking more for bullish trades. However, we know that today is a little bit more iffy in its starting point. Now, and I mentioned this. I said we do have a tendency to see a little bit of a sideways, a little bit of consolidation in the beginning of March, end of February, early March. I said if this pops up and rises, but it only gets up here to, underneath this level, maybe across here, I see this coming down. Yes, it was coming up. We had some concern here. Like we've had these weird crisscrosses where it's like, what is this thing trying to do? As of right now, the most recent thing that happened is we took out this low and we got back down here. We're still above this area. That's true. But don't forget we had this intermediary point that nullified it. So if I have a couple of days where the VIX goes up and the market just pulls back mildly, I think that looks fantastic for a setup. Let me see if I can't find. Yeah. Let's take a look at this. What's the tendency? The tendency late April, or excuse me, late February, early March, is that it chops around a little bit, but here in the first week, when it finds this low, that's where we tend to bounce up out of it. And then we have a window here, a window here, and a window here. That's 3 core windows, at least, in this, March, April rally point. Is that a guarantee? Of course not. Does it happen frequently enough that we should be paying attention to it? Absolutely. That's what I'm looking for, right? So as of right now, what we're seeing all lines up. Don't let the doom and gloomers scare you with their fear mongering. It's gonna be a recession. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's get to the watch list. I think is that everything from the agenda that we wanted to do pre-market? Yeah, looked at the calendar, looked at the futures, looked at the market posture. Mindset for any opening trades. Well, it's opening down a little. So if you carried something through, you have to look at it and decide, is it done? You weren't sure if it was done on Friday. You carried it through the weekend. You're looking at it now. What are you saying? Is there still life that you feel is worth holding on to, risk relative to reward, or does it seem like, you know what, if this thing doesn't start moving by midpoint today, I'm getting ready to close her down. Those are the kinds of Monday morning conversations you're having with yourself. Always start with where skin is in the game, where you have trades on. If you have a trade on, you should look at that trade. You should look at that trade and evaluate its viability. The second thing you should look at is what were your potential entry signals? What was your short list and how do those look today? We don't have to look at everything every time we come in, right? We have a pretty good sense of what's going on as we start the day and as the day moves forward. So CSX, Walmart, love it. CSX and Walmart not looking good today. Yeah, nothing's going to look good today, right? Unfortunately. Gold, I guess, is up a little bit. NVIDIA is up. SMCI. Did you guys see SMCI? Gapping up today. All of a sudden, it's back up 15% today. I told you that was a tough one. Like I said, right here, this is it. This is breaking out of that flag 2 days ago. It's there. Tell you what, that's a beast. A beast. Apple. Yeah. You heard Apple, like Apple had some kind of Apple's pulling the NASDAQ down for sure. There was some law, was it a lawsuit or a fine? The EU fined them. Something happened with Apple. They're gapping down. They just broke a pretty solid 2 billion. Yeah. I mean, 2 billion. It's like 2 billion. And they're like, 2 billion. I mean, that support level was pretty strong and it was really working hard to hold it right there. And then the news comes and bam, just done. Done, done, done. AIG, I finished the rest of that one. Now what? Now I'm looking for this thing to pull back. Okay, great. Great. Feeling good. Feeling groovy. AMD, we talked about it. That would have been a tough one. That would have anything that moves fast like this, it's really tough to catch without some kind of an automated system that's popping you in as it crosses a certain threshold. Amazon gave a signal, same way, turning out of that flag looks still ongoing. AXP done. So you can see that so far what we're noticing is the financials seem to have run out of steam and hit some resistance that, you know, Boeing, nothing there. BLDR just keeps on running. If you wanted it, it would have had to have been right after these earnings. You can see it had a little bit of a consolidation, and I'd say right here, not this first green candle. It's not that. It's when it busts out of this level. But that looks okay. BX sideways. We're not seeing a ton. City just hasn't triggered yet. This is where, right? This is where having a very specific point where we say, I'm going to get in if this happens. Right. Okay. Caterpillar still going, but barely. If you're in it, you got to think I held through the weekend and I'm probably actually still a little behind. What I gained from the stock being up 20 cents or whatever it is, now it's only 4 cents. You probably lost from the time value. So, so. Okay. Capital One. So one thing that I'm noticing is that our financials seem to be pausing, which is fine, right? Which is fine. A little bit of pause in the financials. Waiting for the next round of signals to show up. Okay. Oil, good to see oil not moving, at least from ConocoPhillips. Oh, Costco. Yeah, Costco. This is one of those where it's like, I caught it and it at this engulfing, I'm like, no, that's it. And then it gaps down, rallies up, and now here we are. What are you gonna do? It's too close to earnings. I don't think there's much left there. CrowdStrike setting up. Unfortunately, it's got earnings. So I'm gonna watch and wait and see. CSX. CSX is trying to go. It gave a valid signal on Friday. It's same basic signal. You could have gotten in basically where it is or where it was. And so now if you look at the Heiken Ashi, looks good. If nothing else, we have the ability to now tighten our stop from underneath these lows down here at, let's say, 37.50 maybe, or 37.55. Now we get to raise that up, take a nice chunk of risk out of the trade if you carry it forward, reducing the risk by raising the stop. CSX is that what I was just looking at, right? I was. Sorry. Let me change that back. Delta waiting for a consolidation. DHI waiting for a consolidation. The Dow's kind of steady. Ford, if you stayed in, it's still good. We said it's still good. It bounced. It's moving. Okay. Okay. Fastenal, we were looking for a consolidation, and all of a sudden it popped. There's nothing in me personally. If I had one more day, I would be like, oh, we have our flag, right? If I had one more day, then I would be like, it's viable when it breaks out. But this 2 days, nah, that's too hard. Um, too hard. So waiting for me to buy a new pickup. I actually want a truck. I want a travel trailer. Now that our kids are gone, I want to just drive around the country and luxury camp. That's what I want to do. My wife thinks I'm insane. Okay. Okay. Home Depot, overextended, nothing for us. IBM. I don't know what I just did there. IBM. I just knocked IBM off my list somehow. Hold on. How did I do that? IBM. Yeah, IBM is looking good actually. Um, it's coming up. Just waiting for it to ease back now. I don't know. It's been since its earnings, it's been kind of weird. Anyway, Intel. This is someone asked me, why do you not like Intel? For me, Intel is uh flat. It's lost its trend, it's lost its way. It's just kind of grinding sideways at or slightly below its 50-day moving average. Yeah. Okay. Okay. What's next? IWM. Look at the IWM. So strong. Up almost 1% today. Um, Crazy, right? Okay. Anybody in this trade? I know someone was trading this. Is someone still trading IWM? Press? Am I thinking of you? Somebody was trading IWM. Bob got out. Yep, still got it. Love it. Love it. Okay. JP Morgan, a little overextended. Okay. What else? Meta. Meta looks strong but overextended. There's really nothing there. Same with Microsoft. It's kind of like if it can't get moving, I still like it. Yes, I understand. I understand that it's had kind of this like sideways action, but it did get well above its 50-day. Did the same kind of a thing here, right? Where it makes a lot of its move at once and then kind of consolidates, but coming out of this consolidation, oh, that could be the level. So I'm okay with this. It's holding up. It's maintaining its position. So I like that just fine. Microsoft and IBM do have some similarities, right? You can see that there are some similarities. IBM had a little bit more gappage leading up and right up into its earnings. So Netflix. Netflix. Looks strong, but it's overextended. There's a lot of that right now. A lot of strong but overextended. We're seeing it in technology. We're seeing it in financials. Got a little overextended. So what does that mean then to us? We wouldn't be shocked if we had some kind of a consolidation as these comes up here, and yeah, I don't expect it to last long though. I'll tell you that. Small consolidation. Look at Nvidia. Bam. Like we said, there's your flag. Maybe breakout here. If not, definitely breakout on the next day early, right? Early. That's hard to trade though. Nvidia is hard. SMCI is hard. Um, yeah, those are high flyers. Referring to Netflix, why is Netflix so expensive? Uh, People keep buying it. they're they're they have their. I tell you what, I didn't even realize it. I'm like, oh, what are we paying? Like $13 a month. My wife's like, it's like 28 for Netflix. I'm like, what? When did Netflix become 28 a month? And they crack down. In fact, it's funny because my daughter is in college. I mean, I figure she's part of my household, right? Like I pay for everything. So she should be included in my subscription. But no, but no. Um, no, you know what, Sandy? They make her get a code when she logs in because it recognizes that her IP address is in a different place than my IP address. And it's like, "Oh, are you going to different places? You need to log in from your Netflix app to establish blah blah." Anyways, crazy, right? I'm like, I'm not paying you another subscription. If you make me pay for a second subscription, I'm canceling both subscriptions. So they can either have what I'm paying them now for me and her, but if they say you got to pay for both, I pay for neither. That's it. I'll be like, I don't care. You guys don't have that good of content. I'll find somebody else. I swear I cut cable. I cut cable a number of years back, and now if you added up all my damn subscriptions, it's probably more than my cable bill was. I need to cut my cut my cable bill. That's what I need to do. All right, where are we? Nvidia the beast, continuing to go beast mode. Yeah, right. We said if it's tough to get yourself in. If you're gonna do it, it's that in these areas it busts out. Smashing higher Picard. Um, that was it. There's 3 days. 1, 2, 3. I was looking for more of a pullback, but these things are staying on this strong trajectory. Industrials are very, very strong right now. QQQ. It's holding up today, and it looks. I mean, it's holding up at new highs, so it's looks strong, but it does look a little overextended, right? Ross Stores. I took profit. It's just kind of hanging. We're looking for earnings soon. SMCI, my goodness gracious. And the volatility is just off the charts. Look at the vol. The vol actually spiked from yesterday to today. Was there news on this? Someone tell me if you see some news. Michael said I was paying $240 a month with cable. Right? I think we were, and this is probably like 6 years ago. I think I was at like 150 to 170. I don't even know what channels I had. I was like, this is killing me. I hate this. I never even watched TV. Hardly at all. It does make it suck when I have to try to watch major sporting events because I'm like, how am I going to watch this? Then I'm like, screw it. Oh. Oh, I don't even know what that is. Philo? PHIL, like Philo T. Farnsworth? Is that what that's referring to? Yeah, I was a communications major. Misspelled. SMCI bullish. SPY holding on. Let's look at our opening range. Nope. Let's do this opening range. Um, Here we go. Okay, so we opened and pushed a little bit. Yeah, if we end up breaking the upper end of the range, I think we're going to end up near 513.50. I think we're going to be at new highs for the day. If we break the downside, we could see 509 or 510 back here. But I can't imagine we possibly even come close to the trend line. So, TPR. Ooh, this is tough. This is tough because you can see that it's, we were in this range and then all of a sudden we've popped up out of it. And this stochastics is pinching, but I don't think you'll have your Heiken Ashi. Oh, you do. Higher but red, press noticed, because the red and white is dictated by where is it now relative to where it opened. If it's higher than it opened, it's white. If it's lower than it opened, it's red. not the color is not based on where it is relative to yesterday's close. If it's where it is relative to yesterday's close, then they would be white. Now, I've seen some candles that would actually make this a hollow red. Hollow red would mean the hollow would mean it's higher than the previous day. The red would mean it's lower than it opened today. So even within candlesticks, you can find different mechanisms that are indicative of what happened. So yeah, in this situation, I actually wish it would. As I think about it, I think it should be an open body because it's higher, but it should be a red open body because it opened higher, or it's higher than it was yesterday, but it's lower than it opened today. But at the end of the day, what we have to look at is it's up 1.8%, but it's got this weird funky red candle, right? And that weird funky red candle sometimes makes us hesitate to enter, even though we have a nice Heiken Ashi candle today. So that's something to think about. And that TPR is on my list. Definitely. Taiwan Semiconductor, bingo bango. We put it on our list last week, but I didn't have time to kind of process. I usually like things to sit for a week or two and acclimate to the watch list before I'm looking to jump into trades. I did not jump into that. Did anybody pull the trigger on TSM? UNP is very close still, like CSX. Yeah, I think we're just looking to see if we're going to come out of this consolidation and how. Waste management. Oh, look at waste management, thinking about turning into a signal. Walmart trying to turn back around. Michael, I think you said you're in this one. This looks great. I mean, this looks buyable or very close, and its trend is looking quite strong. XBI overextended. XLB overextended. Communication services has turned a little sideways. Yeah. Google's not helping, but I still like it. Energy, financial still looks just fine. Industrials look fantastic. Technology still looks good. Staples, you can see consolidating, maybe giving us a signal in Walmart. For those of you looking, utilities still down, nothing there. Healthcare, I think is viable. And I would actually say you probably have a nice, right, Heiken Ashi candle. Yeah, that looks like a reasonable trade. And XLY overextended on consumer discretionary. Okay. Well, I think we're kind of still just in a little bit of a holding pattern here. This week, don't forget, we are working on, well, a couple things is happening. Number one, we finished trading foundations. So Tuesdays and Thursdays this week or this month, options. Now, if you went to the first one, we had 1 month, which was 8 sessions. We're really going to cover those same 8 sessions. But because I have double the time, there's going to be a lot more playing with that's from the feedback that I got. Playing with the theoretical model. Right? We're going to play with the theoretical model. We're going to place, manage, watch, really make sure you're comfortable getting your hands on and go from there. Stop info somewhere. That's a good question. I don't know that I have any like it's mixed in, Michael, but I don't know that I have a specific let me look through and see. That might be worth its own separate video. Is just a conversation on stops.
and how we can think about stops and managing stops and adjusting stops. Let me think on that. I mean, it's mixed in. We talk about it around entry signals, of course. But it is a worthy topic of trying to have like its own video. So let me put that on my backlog of things to do and see what I can come up with for that. This week, remember, and last week was an easy one. So if you didn't do last week, you can catch up. Go put an hour in on your trading, on your personal info section of your trading plan, and then come and get an hour in on this one. I'm sending you out. So in each email this week, there will be a video that talks about the broader perspective of market forecasting. And then there is a individual video for each of the 6 components. So you can watch the video that goes through the whole process, and then you can zoom in and say, you know what, I'm pretty comfortable with trends, but I'm not great with volume. And you can watch that. So those are coming to you. I mean, they're always available in the content library, but I'm putting those links specifically so that you can get some time in. Make sure you're defining your routines. Make sure you discuss very specifically how you're creating these rules of thumb that adapt as market conditions change, so that at any given time, you know the answers to these questions. You know how many trades. You know how long your trades are likely to last. You know how you're likely to manage risk, right? All right. So I will see everybody tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time for Options Foundations version 2.0. Very exciting. And I will see you on Wednesday morning, like today, pre-market. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And I will see you soon. As always, happy trading.